Rich and Mike Show, Flagler County's hometown sports show. Here are your hosts, Rich Carroll and Mike Licio.
Yes, it's another episode of the Rich and Mike Sports Show. Good Saturday morning, Flagler County. And a good Saturday morning to you, Mike Licio.
Hello, Flagler County. Rich, it's a little earlier than it was last week. I was surprised you stayed awake for the whole show last week.
I can't believe it. I don't know. I looked up at the clock and I said, we're doing a show and it's 2 a.m. But a little bit of a different story this week. And I think the game got started last weekend, and this week we were at halftime. So a completely different story for sure.
Yeah, much better this way. I said last week, and I'll say it again, full disclosure, I did not get up until 10:30 on Saturday morning. The wife and kids were not home. My wife and daughter had gone somewhere. My son was at work, and I'm like, nobody needs me right now. I'm going to stay in bed. And then I got up and I watched some film, and I've got kind of the same plan today, except I'm going to probably get up at a decent hour. But remember, after this show, a lot of is like the kickoff of college football. You got Texas and Ohio State at 12, Georgia and Marshall at 3:30, Florida and LIU at 7. So I know where I'm going to be. I'm going to be about 2 feet from where I'm sitting right now on the couch watching football. But first, let's talk about the Friday night we had, because we are off to a roaring start on the WNZF Sports Network.
Oh, we certainly are, and it was an incredible showing from the Matanzas Pirates last night as they defeat the University Titans 43 to, what was it, 17?
24.
24, I forget the last score. So 43 to 24 was the final score. Pirates dominated in this game, but we talked about it during the broadcast. It was not like they led from end to end. They started really well. They scored within just about the first minute of the ball game, and then they went quiet for a little bit, and University took over, and they eventually take a 14-6 lead, Mike, and then it just changed from there.
And I think that's something that I talked to Coach Forrest a little bit about it after the game, but that's something we've seen in Matanzas in the past, where especially against a team like University coming off a 9-win season last year, they would get down 14-6 and they might fold. They had a blocked extra point, and that's a bad sign. Then you give up back-to-back touchdowns, you go 3 and out, and all of a sudden it's 14-6 and you've given up 14 unanswered. And things in the past, some of those Matanzas teams might have come off the rails. And I think one of the things that Coach Forrest is happy about with the direction this program is going is that they've started to realize that they just need to keep playing. And they kept playing. They outscored, from the time it was 14-6, they outscored University 37-10.
Yeah, and there's no question why that was going on. That Matanzas Pirate offense, man, it was all cylinders were full straight ahead. They were doing a great job in the running game, in the passing game. On defense, they gave up 24 points, but they made big plays when they had to make them. On special teams at the end there with the punt block and the recovery in the end zone from Jack Ferguson, who also had the game-clinching interception on defense. So, and he also had a big fumble recovery. So it was a big game for Jack Ferguson as well. Just they were running on all cylinders. They played a fantastic game, top to bottom. And sure, there were some penalties, but maybe the most impressive thing for me on the night was the fact that they did not turn the football over after I think they turned it over 5 times a week ago against the FPC Bulldogs. So an incredible turnaround for them to do that against a team in University. Yes, there's a lot of turnover over there, but still you had some media outlets predicting that University was going to win this game by 30 points. So it was a huge night for the Matanzas Pirates, really one of the better nights in recent memory for the program, and one of the best performances we've seen in years out of the quarterback in Cole Walker. He was absolutely tremendous in the game. I mentioned the no turnovers. He was spreading that ball around to all of those talented receivers he has on the outside. We saw big-time receptions from Andrew Bass, and the thing impressive about Andrew Bass, a lot of those receptions were happening on 3rd downs and on 4th downs. Everybody chipped in on the outside there. Jordan Schendorf had a fantastic game. Larawan had a fantastic game. And it wasn't just receiving the football, which they did a great job of, and Walker did a great job moving the football around, but they were blocking in the running game, which led to the great games that you had from Peterson and Wiley Connor. So I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen such a complete performance from this program, but you got it last night, and you got it against one of the better programs the last few years in the area.
Yes, and you talked about it. The offensive line played a huge part in that. They had 293 yards passing. They also had 193 yards rushing. And James Peterson, I don't have an injury update. He did leave the game with an injury. He had to be helped off the field. He was on the shoulders of Tim Sandersfield and Michael Dorsch, the trainer from Matanzas. So he had to be helped off, but he had 5 carries for 75 yards and had a 29-yard run, had a 22-yard touchdown run. Wiley Connor played both ways tonight, ended up with over 100 yards rushing. In fact, he ended up with 109 yards rushing on just 12 carries. And one of the things we talked about in the keys to the game was I felt like Matanzas needed to commit to the run. Last week, they had 34 called passes and 23 called runs, and they only had 20. They actually ran the ball less percentage-wise. They ran it 24 times, and Cole Walker threw it 40. But the offense seemed more balanced. It seemed like they were passing to set up the run, and they were having a lot of success doing it.
And you also have to mention on defense how well they played. You mentioned Wiley Connor playing both ways. He played great. I think Jezariah McCoy had an interception there.
Mm-hmm.
You saw Ladarian Baker making big plays in the secondary for
broke up 2 passes tonight. Yes.
So he looked great out there. So and as I mentioned, it was timely defense from the Pirates. Big time stops at the goal line that we saw a week ago. So that's now a character trait that you're starting to see with this team. Bend but don't break on some of these drives where, okay, you get down to the goal line, but it's not a guarantee you're going to score on us. And we've seen multiple goal line stops by this Matanzas Pirates defense. And that just adds to one thing that we're starting to see. They played a great game against FPC a week ago. They kept it tighter than most of these Potato Bowls have been, and that was a good sign. And then this week they build on that, and they provide a performance that we just haven't seen often at the Ship, and it was just so impressive to watch. And it's hard to really point at anything negative in this game, even early on when they had a drive stalled by a couple of penalties on some screen passes. Those were great plays, and they were ready to break them for long gains. So you see the play design. You see Coach Forrest. He has the talent to play a little air raid right now. We're going back to that rookie season from Coach Forrest. We remember it when he came in with the air raid and they were airing it out. I think that was the Nathan DiTilio year we were talking about.
Yeah, that was the Nathan DiTilio year, yep.
He had,
and in fact, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say you were talking about it during the game. That I'll let you say it because it's your stat. You did the research.
So Ethan DiTilio threw for 303 yards on November 20th, 2020. Cole Walker's 293 yards is the most since then. Last year they did throw for 267 as a team against FPC, but that was split between Jackson Lundahl and Jordan Schendorf. So this was the most yards by one quarterback in a Matanzas game in nearly 5 years. And it seems like Cole Walker has taken control of the offense, 23 of 40, 293 yards, 3 touchdowns. As you said, no interceptions. And just to put a bow on the defense, they gave up 389 yards. But 389 yards of offense translating only into 24 points. I think that shows, to your point, that the defense – will let you get down the field, but they tend to bow up when it matters most. In fact, one of the guys we didn't mention, Riley Roberts, he forced a fumble tonight. He was the one who blocked the punt that Ferguson recovered, and he had a shot on Mayhew. I thought he killed the kid. That quarterback was running for his life, literally and figuratively. Like, he had a great night rushing the ball, but he was having to run for his life on almost every play, and he took some hits last night, and Omar Stewart was like breathing down his neck the whole night. We saw plays from Chase Johnson had a great pass rush, a couple of plays on him, and Omar Stewart was down there, and the secondary, he completed 15 of 37, and that's just great secondary play. Patton played well, McCoy played well, Ladarian Baker played well. Ladarian Baker, we saw a lot of his. Ladarian Baker doesn't stuff the stat sheets with what he does on defense, but you see his athleticism, and basically he takes away one side of the field.
Oh, yeah, he does a great job in the secondary, and he's unusual in the sense that, yeah, he's playing the cornerback position, but he's a pretty tall kid, right? He plays basketball. He's a double-double machine, and you can see why when he's out there on the football field. He's a big dude, and it's just you can't throw over the top, and he has the ability to be that size, but also stay with some of these smaller receivers and make it difficult on them. Then he has the reach to reach in there and knock it out when he's in position. And one thing you saw from him as well last night was the ability to get turned around and locate the ball and get that pass defense. There was one play where, and we mentioned it during the broadcast, Christian Mayhew for the University Titans, he was very impressive in his escapability. He was very slippery. You called him Fran Tarkington at one point in the broadcast. It was pretty cool.
Look it up, kids.
It was pretty cool to see him run back and forth behind the line of scrimmage, making guys miss and giving his receivers a chance to get open. And he made a lot of plays doing that. But there was a particular play where he did that, underthrew the ball. And how many times do you see that on any level where the quarterback underthrows the football, the receiver is able to locate it, but the cornerback is not, and the receiver is able to make the adjustment and make the catch. In this case last night, Ladarian Baker, he also was able to locate the football and adjust and prevent a big play. So, yeah, the secondary was great last night in big moments, and that's huge.
It's almost unfair when you think about it, because Ladarian Baker, for those of you who don't know, he's 6'5". 6'5", that's a big corner, and he can run with those guys, like you said, and he can outjump everybody too. It's like you see this guy line up against you, like, this guy's tall. This is unfair. At least I can run by him, and then you're running by him, and he's still with you, and you're like, oh no, well maybe I can outjump him, and then he's outjumping you, and it just got to feel unfair to have such a talented, to be blessed with that. Like I've said many times, I'll probably repeat it every week this season because it's fun to repeat. Double machine in basketball, all area in football, district champion in track. Like, he is a coach's dream no matter what sport you're playing. And he was that again tonight. Offensively, didn't contribute as much on the stat sheet, but, part of the reason that Andrew Bass is able to catch 10 passes and a touchdown and that Jordan Schendorf's able to catch 7 for 146 and 2 touchdowns is because teams are concerned and worried about Ladarian Baker, and they're rolling coverages to him and making it so that Cole Walker has to find other people. So even when Ladarian Baker, if you look at the stat sheet and you said 2 catches, 11 yards, you say, he's not really doing much. Well, it's one of those things, like it's like when sometimes the tape shows more than the stat sheet does. And I think that's what happens a lot with Ladarian Baker. Like the example I always give is LJ, why am I forgetting LJ's name from Mainland a couple of years ago? The defensive end. But anyway, he had 2 assisted tackles in the entire game. But if you watch the film of that Mainland St. Augustine championship game, he was the MVP. He really was. And so sometimes the tape does lie, the numbers do lie. And I think in Ladarian Baker's case, he doesn't put up a lot of stats, but if you watch the tape, he's making an impact on both sides of the ball almost every play. Oh
yeah, the ultimate team player. He had a fantastic night. If you're watching the game, as you just mentioned, it's not always about the stats. It's about the impact you have on the game, and he had a huge impact on the game. And you can tell he's one of those guys that's just the ultimate teammate. He's going to do whatever it takes for his team to win. And I did like seeing Coach Forrest trying to hit him on that fade a couple of times late in the game. Keep an eye on that. That could become a factor in weeks to come.
Yeah, if Walker gets that ball a little higher, there's nobody. And I think that's something Cole Walker has to get used to too, is having somebody with that athleticism. He's played with some great wide receivers. Don't get me wrong, but he doesn't play with a guy like Ladarian Baker who's 6'5" and can literally jump out of the building. You just got to put that ball up high, and nobody else in the state is going to get to that ball but Ladarian Baker. Why don't we take a break and then we'll talk about? Let's hear from some of the players from Matanzas after the game.
All right. So you're listening to Rich and Mike Sports Show on a Saturday morning, Flagler County. This is the official post-game show for the Matanzas Pirates and University Titans game. That was the game of the week on News Radio WNZF last night. Big night for the Pirates. They win 43-24. We'll have more with the players after this.
Thank you so much for recommending us to your family and friends. When you need a 30, 60, or 90-minute massage, it's real easy to book your appointment online. MassageByNatalie.org. MassageByNatalie.org.
Jaguars football is officially back. Be there as number 2 overall draft pick Travis Hunter, quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and new head coach Liam Cohen take the field for the first time during the 2025 NFL regular season. Secure your seats for when the Jaguars take on the Panthers September 7th by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you at the bank.
Rich and Mike Sports Show, Saturday morning. Mike, great night for the Matanzas Pirates, and I'm sure that locker room was live. I think that's what the kids say. It was
Club
live.
Dub.
Club Dub.
They call it Club Dub. It's lit. It's lit.
That's what I was looking for. Man, I'm old. It was lit.
So Matanzas, when they win a game, they have Club Dub. So they'll have music and the light show, and it's a party in the Matanzas locker room, and it's something to be seen. And they had Club Dub tonight, and some of these interviews you're going to hear Club Dub in the background. But I guess let's start with KJ Roberts, the senior offensive lineman, because the offensive line, when you have 486 yards of offense, the offensive line is going to be a big part of that. KJ, games are won in the trenches. Tonight was no different. University presented a lot of challenges. How were you guys able to handle that tonight?
Tonight, we was the underdog in this game. There was a lot of score prediction on the social media that we were going to lose and stuff. But we just stayed to our game plan, because we know what we're capable of and the guys we got. That's what's good about us.
When you hear that the team had over 500 yards of offense, obviously they had almost 300 yards passing, 200 yards rushing. What's it say about the job you guys did up front?
Up front, we just stick to the game plan that Coach got us with. This whole summer we've been building a good bond because, we got a whole new group coming in. So we just been sticking to the game plan.
Down 14-6, was there any concern?
No concerns. We knew we was going to come out with the win.
Go ahead and head up to Club Dub.
Yes, sir.
Great job, KJ. Thank you.
You got to love the confidence there from KJ. And, yeah, you're not able to run the football, or Cole Walker is not going to have the time to get all those completions and touchdown passes if the guys up front are not doing their job. And the other thing I like to hear there is he references the summer and what they were able to build over the summer with new guys coming in. And you're seeing that develop right before your eyes here the first 2 games of the season.
Helps if I turn the microphone on. But, yeah, physicality has been a big part of how this Matanzas team is winning games. And we've seen that through and through. But it's also allowed Cole Walker the time to find receivers downfield. And one of those was a guy with 7 catches, 146 yards, and 2 touchdowns in Jordan Shendorf. Jordan, big night for you, 100 yards receiving, a lot of catches. I think 7 for about 150 tonight. What happened on that first touchdown pass?
Oh, man, we knew they were coming out first drive. We knew they were in a cover 1 look, so we knew it was man coverage. We had it across the board, and we really liked that little switch route we had. So we knew I don't think they saw that on film, so we knew that was going to be money coming into tonight.
When did you know it was going to be 6?
Oh, when I caught it, man. I looked behind me, there was nothing but green grass.
They had a really good secondary. How were you able to have success against them tonight?
Yes, sir. It was just a lot of creative plays, a lot of releases I was working with, just testing the DBs, seeing what they were working with, just a lot of creativity.
Seems like you've gotten your senior year off to a strong start. Would you agree?
Yes, sir.
Where do you go from here?
Just keep working, keep doing what we're doing, and see where it ends at the end of the season.
And last thing, your quarterback, Cole Walker, talk about how comfortable he seems to be with the offense right now.
Yeah, it's been really good this week. It looked pretty good last week. We just tightened up some things, and from there, it's just been really nice.
Yeah, another big game from Jordan Shendorf. He's another guy that'll do whatever it takes for the team to win. I think that spring game he played quarterback, Mike, for the Pirates. So
yes.
He's just a talented athlete, and that was how the Pirates got off to the big start with his touchdown reception. And, yeah, you see it. We were talking about it during the broadcast, and it's got to be a lot of fun for these kids playing the position of wide receiver and quarterback. You're starting to see that air raid return, and, boy, all of a sudden when you have guys that can execute, you have talented receivers, you have a quarterback that can deliver the football and is getting better every week, all of a sudden you see that brilliant football mind of Matt Forrest manifest itself on the field.
Let's hear from that quarterback. Perfect time to talk to him. Cole, Early on, looked like, I don't want to say anxious, but looked like maybe you were just a little off, and then you settled down. What changed from early in the first quarter to the second quarter when you really started to get settled into the game?
I really think, our halftime speech with the team, we all really came together because I think it was a 1 possession or 2 possession game at halftime. So I think, us coming together during halftime and really bonding, in that short amount of time, it's hard to, do a whole lot. But I think the most important thing is just the mental thing of bringing the team together. So that's what we did, and we came out and lit it up in the second half.
That first touchdown to Jordan, what did you see?
So we snapped. We were going at a high tempo, and as I was snapping the ball, the defense was still trying to figure out where to line up. So I went to the side where the 2 guys looked confused, and he just left Jordan wide open on the sideline.
Andrew Bass came through with some big catches tonight, as did Jordan. How good were your receivers tonight?
So my receivers were amazing. I mean, all of them made plays tonight. I trust all of them 100%, and all of them made plays tonight. Every single one of them made plays, so props to them for sure. And props to the O-line as well. O-line protected me really well. So if it wasn't for the O-line, my receivers wouldn't look good.
You stole my next question, but that's a veteran move there. From this week to last week, it seems like every week you get more and more comfortable with the offense. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir, 100%.
So how do you take it to the next level from here? By the way, you had the most yards by a Matanzas quarterback in a game in 5 years. How do you get better from here?
I think, we just take it day by day. Monday we just got to start preparing for Deltona. And, just take it day by day. Don't get too ahead of myself. And I think that's how I get better. Just don't get ahead of myself and just keep the team motivated.
Now, there's the winning quarterback last night. Walker, just a fantastic game. As you mentioned there in the interview, most yardage by a Pirate quarterback in 5 years, which is just a great accomplishment. And, Mike, I don't think I'm overstating it when I say it was one of the best nights we have witnessed at the Ship in a few years there. And Cole Walker was making plays. His receivers were making plays. They were making plays all over the field, both sides of the ball.
They were, and no one more than Jack Ferguson last night, who had a touchdown on a blocked recovery on a blocked punt, and he had an interception, and he was in the university backfield the whole night as a run stopper, as a pass rusher. And Jack, he had an injury at the beginning of the year. He wasn't sure he was going to make it back to play this year, and he's come such a long way, and he felt pretty good after the game. Jack, team seems to be off to a great start. What changed from last week to this week?
I think last week we came a little bit short of our expectations. FPC, that's always a big rivalry for us. I think we're a way better team. We got more talent. We work harder. We got better coaches, more discipline. But this week, we really just put it all together. Last week, we had too many turnovers, a lot of simple mistakes. I think we cleaned it up a lot tonight. And I think we just had more fun balled out there.
Tonight, the team made plays in all 3 phases. Obviously, you saw what the offense did, but you made a couple plays yourself. Talk about the block punt.
Oh, man, Coach originally called her just receiving the ball. I was like, nah, Coach, let's go block it. I see my guy Riley block it. Saw it in the end zone, first touchdown ever. I jumped on it. I was so excited.
And then you got the interception.
Oh, yeah, I saw that open up. I had to just go clean that up. I thought I was going to be gone for 6. Could have gone right, trucked that QB. I would have been gone, but nah, I got tackled. Right.
How do you build on tonight?
I think we just got to keep up what we're doing. We got a lot of momentum. Everybody's hyped. I think we had a lot of fun out there for sure. We just got to go into practice with the same energy we had this week because we were pissed after FPC. Now we got to keep that same energy going throughout this rest of the season.
Coach, need to get you in on offense now?
I don't know. I think you maybe should. I'm not that bad. I can play some sniff or something, get the ball, go for a little run.
And a great game for Jack Ferguson as well. So the Pirates 1-1 on the season after their victory over University. The Bulldogs, surprisingly, 1-1 after they fall to Lake Howell. We will see them next week in Mainland. But, Mike, we have one more special guest here.
Yes, Coach George Butts from FPC Girls Basketball is putting on a camp this Labor Day, and I got to catch up with Coach Butts this week to talk about that and the upcoming season. I'm joined by FPC Girls Basketball Coach George Butts. Coach Butts, thank you for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you for having me this morning. I greatly appreciate it so much.
Coach, you had retired after many, many years at Atlantic. You had retired. What brought you back to coaching and specifically FPC?
Well, I was not planning on getting back into coaching, but my wife worked there in the ESC department at FPC, and one of my former administrators that was there at Atlantic was at FPC, and they needed a girls basketball coach. And she asked me if I would come out of retirement to help get the girls program back to going. And my wife was still working, so it was good for me. Some people have golf. I have basketball.
Do you feel like the time off re-energized you as a coach?
Yes, it did. It gave me time to rest because you have to understand, too, I pastor full-time also. I've been pastoring 30 years.
What has changed as a coach from when you first started coaching to now over the years?
It's just the level and the intensity of the players now. I say they're more of what's going on television than really working as hard as they really can. So that's what I'm trying to bring to FBC, because where I was before, it was very intense and they were hungry for it. So now I have these girls at that point that they're hungry for it and that desire for it and studying the game. So that's the difference now.
And how do you feel about the program going into, this is your third year at FPC?
I feel real good about the program. I'm looking to have a better year. We went 14-8 last year, which was not bad. But I think we can do a lot better this year. I think we have some good personnel, and the girls have been in the system for 2 years. Now, this is the year we need to see the production.
So you're still a couple months away from the season. Before that, you have a special event going on this weekend, this Labor Day weekend. Kind of tell us about that.
Yes, we're doing a camp for kids ages 5 through 12 on Labor Day. And I would say to the parents, if you need a few hours in the morning to get your barbecue grills going and to get to the grocery store, allow your youngsters, your daughters or your sons to come be a part of this camp. It's only $35, and this camp helps the girls for the season with uniforms, meals, travel, whatever we do. And that's why we're putting this camp on also for that purpose.
Now, is that something you enjoy, reaching out to the younger boys and girls in the community, getting them involved in the game that you've spent so much of your life working?
Yes, sir, because it will help them in the future. You know, the coaches that may come after me, coaches, they get the basic trainings now, how to dribble, how to handle the ball, how to hold the ball, how to shoot the ball at that age. And then they may become interested in it even more than they are now.
Do you feel like in the women's game that players coming into high school a little more experienced than maybe they were 20, 30 years ago?
In the women's game now, because the level of the women's game have come up to a great place in girls basketball now, and especially with the WNBA the way it is, and in college. Now all of the girls are really excited about, I can make it if I put the time in and put the work in. So I think it has come up tremendously.
And finally, as you prepare for this coming season, what would you consider a successful season?
Our goal this year is to make it to win the district championship and get into the state playoffs. That would be where we want to make. I think if we can make it into the state playoffs, it would be a great season. Now, my goal is always getting to the state. That's always been what I've done at my former schools. It has never been to win the district or regional, get to the state tournament, because if I get there, I've done all of the other.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the time. Good luck with the camp again. And get us one more time, if you give everybody that information on the camp that's coming up on Labor Day.
Yes, the camp that's coming up on Labor Day we will start at 8 a.m. and it will go until 11 a.m., ages 5 to 12. It will be at Flagler Palm Coast High School. You can check in there. You can go online on the Flagler High School website or either the Flagler County website, and they have a way for you to register there, or you can come in person, and we will take care of you there that morning. Someone will be there by 7:30.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach Butts. And Flagler County, you have a great Labor Day weekend. We'll see you next week for Mainland FPC.